stand together and fight this disease.
I come this way before, travel with an open door. Circumstances navigated the path, and life happened all so fast. No, it got lonely. Sometimes you see, I know we couldn't make it. Even when I'm off beat, I still land on my feet, and nothing can shake me, cause I know life took a hold on. I never. This is where I am destined to be. I'm not ready to give up. I believe in the miracle of life. Life's a play with no rehearsal. Learn quickly, they'll come for your role. Games to play, can't take it personal, cause the devil is a liar. Telling you the truth, it's all in what you do.
Good evening, Diane. That's Dr. Bryant.
Fight for millions, take a second, see the blessing in it. But much expected, much is given. One to make the living, now I'm giving back to children. Never let the power come first before your happiness. Yes, you can be the best if you go the distance. Mix a little sweat with your persistence. You know that the best things are never instant. Just shine, let us see it brilliant. Get up, open up your eyes now. It's the moment of truth. No backing down. We're bringing it through like for the children, it's a given. You gotta give it, be a blessing.
This my personal statement. Run the game like I'm aces. Learn to develop patience, determined to be the greatest. Yeah, bobbing and weaving, they changing up like the seasons. Indigenous to the grind, so I do it for all my people. Jabbing the competition, back up against the ropes. You fighting for recognition, I'm fighting just to promote equality where we lacking. Or cancer slowing our road. I'm confident we'll make it. We focus on common goals. Yeah.
Give back, give love, give something away. Never give up, stand tall to fight another day. 2 toes, 2 feet, I stand on the ground. I'm going back soon and fight this final round. Life's a play with no rehearsal. Learn quickly, they'll come for your role. Can't get played, can't take it personal, cause the devil is a liar. Telling you the truth, it's all in what you do.
Things you gotta do. Hey, bounce with me one time. Hey, what up, DB? Love is the word. JP, but we gonna call him JQ. What up, G Brown, Mississippi King? That's what's up. Only Dad's podcast, man. You got on the nickels and dimes tonight, man. What up, Norin? What up, KJ? Love is the word. Robert Brown, man. We appreciate you coming in here. OGE, what it do? Big homie Coop. Oh, y'all designed that, huh? Y'all going back to back with the bars, man. What up, Phil? Kevin Brower, Hotep, Taylor Bell, man. We piling on in. They may skip on me, man. What's up, Nathan? What's up, Big Tex, a.k.a. Hey, what's up, Hotep Shalom? The boxing plug, man. And don't forget the pre-order. You guys see it on the screen, man. I appreciate you guys in advance. We're almost at 1,000 in about 3 or 4 days, man. I truly appreciate you, man. We got about 1,000. We had 804 pre-orders, man, since Sunday. So I truly appreciate y'all. Keep on supporting. Thank you. 9 Wives coming soon, August 5th. But coming to you right now. I said coming to you right now, man. We appreciate it. I was trying to figure out how to bring her in. I'm just going to call her Dr. Everything. Have you ever been called Dr. Everything? Have you ever been called Dr.
Everything? I'm with it. Whatever works. Whatever works. I've been called. You'd be surprised at the things that my clients call me that are hilarious, literally. Some of the stuff I can't even say on air. But I know it's from a place of nurture and love. And so I'm all for it.
Well, welcome to the barbershop. It's honestly a pleasure to have you in here. And I follow you on Instagram. So I've been a silent participant in your ascension. And it's been amazing. I mean, rather amazing. And where did this start?
1 second. I want them to stop texting me. So to stop texting me while I'm trying to give you all my attention.
Okay. We take it all. We take it all.
Yeah. So where did it all start? Wow. What a question, right? Well, I mean, it started from, I guess, my own healing journey, of just growing up and, being a young girl with, a lot of my own traumas and issues and, brokenness and abandonment issues that I had to, grow into. And, as I always say, a broken young woman or a broken young girl or boy turns into a broken man or woman. And a lot of us go on being broken and never turning our broken pieces into peace because we don't come into awareness of what that is.
Right.
And so we end up in a lot of dysfunctional relationships, not just romantically, professionally as well, friendships and family ships. And we usually, what happens is we usually end up going through the cycle, viciously over and over and over and over again, which is called pathology. And then we go through it that one last time and we're like, yo, like I'm exhausted and I'm tired of going through the same thing. Why is it always a production, or why is it always something negative, or why is it always toxic, or why is it always dysfunctional? And after we realize it's not the people that we are calibrating to us that have the problem or the issue, it's who we are that's calibrating those that are coming to us and who we're choosing. Because at the end of the day, we're not experiencing people, we're experiencing ourselves. And so if I want to know what I got going on internally, then all I have to do is look at how I'm experiencing my relationships and people. Hurt people, heal people, heal people. And when I was more in my abandonment and, just not understanding a lot of my own issues and healing pockets and pain pockets, my relationships were me. And so there were, some things that weren't healthy and that may have came off, somewhat, abusive, whether it's verbally or physically, whatever that looks like. I was experiencing myself from my learned behavior, from my abandonment issues. And I really, at the end of the day, I was just a young girl who was crying out, for help and for my healing my pain pockets to be looked at and examined and healed from the inside out. And, we're the only ones that can turn the light on in our darkness. You can facilitate me, you can love me through it, you can help me through it, but you cannot turn my light on in my darkness. You just can't. And that makes it scary, but it also makes it something that's extremely healthy once we make it to the light switch, because it's empowering. And we then understand what it takes to get through that process, because life is going to do that to us more than once, multiple times, right? And so it gives us a place to pull from that goes, wait a minute, life. Last time you did this to me, I had to go to meditation. I had to turn to prayer. I had to turn to support. I had to sit it out. I had to wait it out. Whatever that is that you had to do, you start to build what I call a toolbox of principles. And so when life throws something at you, you pop your toolbox open. You go, last time I used this tool. Hold on. Last time I used this screw. I used this hammer to build this and to do this. And then you start to understand what self-mastery is. And so the idea is not to seek purpose or seek people. It's to seek self. Because where self is where your purpose is. And where self is self-mastery. And that's where everything you want is anyways. And the idea is to love on folks, but not be codependent. Meaning I don't need you to be a certain way for me to be okay. I just need to learn how to be okay within myself, so that while the world is doing this, I can be sturdy oak while the world is doing this. And that's what's important. So for me, in a nutshell, I just took a deep look at myself in the mirror and found out a lot of different pain pockets I was and wasn't aware of. And I started to heal myself. And when I start bringing my broken pieces to peace, there was a thing that I call God's peace that just took over me. And I thought, you know what, there's no way that I could be coming from where I came from, where I'm able to get to God's peace and get to a place of understanding and calmness of what life is, or what that feels like, or when to hold and when to fold, without giving those tips and those principles to everyone I come in contact with. And from there, I've just been, and I say it very humbling, I've been just changing lives literally left and right. And to see my clients go through breakthrough after breakthrough, to see dudes who literally come from the streets and come from the hood, the inner city, which is where I come from, and sit in session with me and watch them go from lost and broken and afraid and shut down and not open to wide open and vulnerable. and solid in who they are and confident and empowered. And I mean, you know, just building their businesses and their families and smiling and really just killing this thing called life. And for them to come to session with a smile and no longer coming with this darkness, right? Like a hoodie over them. They're now coming with the hoodie off and the lights are on and they're ready. That's the real paycheck. That is an experience that everyone doesn't get to experience. And I'm not saying going through it, I'm saying like myself being the coach, the professional that can witness that. And I could imagine not witnessing something like that. I have yet to experience something that's more rewarding than being in the dark with my client and walking them through and processing through it and then watching them turn that light switch on and them going, oh my God, I didn't know that I was this amazing. I didn't know that I had all this going on. I can see myself like, whoa, dang, I'm this great. Wow, like I can actually be confident without being called arrogant. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have to be arrogant because of my insecurities now. I can actually really be confident because it's not my insecurities that are speaking for me. It's just me being a solid man or woman and feeling good about who I am finally, you know, and you're talking about people who never experienced that from childhood, fathers who have emasculated their sons. And not that the father, in my true belief from doing this 13 years, not that the father woke up planning to do it with the intent to bash. The father either didn't have a father or he was emasculating himself as well. And so he thought that's the way that you parent, is to tell this child, you know, you're nothing, or that's all you got, or to beat the SHIT out of him if he made the wrong move or got the wrong grade or said the wrong thing. And these men grow up to be abusers themselves. And then they don't like who they are. And that's the epitome of self-hatred, the epitome of identity crisis. And we experience that so much in our Black community that it's heartbreaking and it's sad. And for some reason, God has given me the gift to understand people, but more so understand Black men for some reason, and have the gift of being able to penetrate them in ways that breaks them wide open without judgment, and allows them a really free, open, safe space and haven for them to just be wide open and go all out. And it's so beautiful to see that spirit awaken, because I see beauty in them from the beginning. And I'm just like geeked up with all this excitement because I can't wait for them to see it. And as I take what I call an eclipse off of their eyes, because it's, you know, just like an eclipse, when an eclipse covers up the moon, doesn't mean it's not there, right? It's just an eclipse. But move that eclipse, guess what's still there? You still got a moon right there. And that's how it is with people and our beauty. Trauma is an eclipse, right? And it eclipses who we are. And as we get through the trauma and we dwell through it, and I use the metaphor of a garden for our life in my book, Mental Detox. And as we go in the garden and we pull out the rodents and the weeds, and we start to pull up things that shouldn't be there, that don't belong, that are trauma, an eclipse moves open. And then you get to see your garden and you're going, damn, this is all me. Like, it's all you, champ. I get to plant whatever I want, and you don't have to do it alone. I'm here to plant with you. I'm here to figure it out. We can draw it out first. We can get to planting something here and there and kind of see what it looks like, and support and empowerment. And my style of coaching is very nurturing and very loving. And that goes a long ways with my clients. You know, I tell them, I love you when we end our session. Hey, I love you, champ. You know, I love you to pieces. I'll see you next week. I tell them, I got you. I won't drop you. I'm here for you. As long as you have me, I'll be here. And those are the small things that are gigantic that we all need to hear and that we all need reassurance of. And not a lot of us are getting it. Not a lot of us are getting it from our parents or from our friends. Our conversations are usually short. And people who are powerhouses are usually looked upon as having it all together and being okay. And that's not true. That's not true. We break too, and we need to. And there's power in asking for help and knowing that you need help. And there's power in empowering people and helping them get through things, because, we all need it. And we eat what we kill. And so we got to be careful with what we're killing, so we don't end up eating some SHIT that make it to where we got to figure out how to turn our own lights on.
Amen to that. The co-host is here, DB, Dr. Bryant, DB. Go ahead, D.
Pleasure to meet you. Can you tell me what the goal, or tell us what the goal of the mental detox book is, and what kind of feedback have you gotten, positive and negative?
And before you answer that, Lena Ray wanted to welcome you to the barbershop. So welcome to the barbershop.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you, DB. And hello, Lena. Is Lena Ray?
Lena Ray, yes.
Lena Ray. Hi. To answer your question, the goal of mental detox was to really help people detox their entire life. And again, I use the garden metaphor for our life in the sense of, you got this big, beautiful garden, and an unattended garden attracts rodent and weeds. So you kind of don't have a choice but to attend to it, because not attending to it brings in more rodents and weeds than if you just attended to the garden and maintained it. The goal of that is to have people take inventory of what needs to be detoxed, what needs to be plowed out, what needs to be rooted out, and then to be able to go in there and plant that at which you want to plant in your life. Listen, we are the creator of our world, period. And as long as we understand that, then we have creative control to create, meaning plant what we want in our garden. If we do not want roses with thorns, we don't have to plant roses with thorns. If you only want a garden with lilies and blueberries, then plant your blueberries and plant your lilies. Do not let societal constructs tell you got to have an apple tree. If that's not the harvest that you choose to have in your garden, don't plant that. And what happens is, when you're living in a society where you are, especially in the Black community, you are taught a way to think, you're taught a way to be, so that you can survive your environment, and you don't learn how to thrive. You don't learn how to create and how to create the world that you want. In your mind, you have to be this way to survive, and you forget how to be so you can thrive. And what the book does, it teaches you about, this is your garden, and you control it, you create it, and you plant what you want to be in your garden, and you put up a beautiful, beautiful wall, which is called boundaries, because the epitome of self-love is boundaries. And the boundaries look like a wall that says, whom I allow to come in needs to be contributing with something, whether they just sprinkle a little water, or they maybe sprinkle a little more seeds for that grass to grow. But those who can't come in and be conducive or compatible to that at which I'm planting, then it's not about that person being inferior to you or not a good person. They're just not conducive or compatible for what you're growing. And that's okay. And that's something that we have to be able to get more in contact with, which the book teaches, is, being okay with making the right decisions. Every day we live in the results of our choices. And as you want to know what you're choosing, look at the results you're living in today. You want to know, the results of what you're doing. Well, how you measure that is saying, let me look around in my world and let me see if what I got going on, what am I manifesting? Well, those choices are the measurement, the results of your world today. And that's just what it is. Dysfunctional relationships, then you're making dysfunctional choices. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. Just like law of attraction. I talk about law of attraction in the book. Law of attraction is you attract who you are despite of who you think you are. So let's say that again. You attract who you are despite of who you think you are. And so, as you may think that you are this person, but if you really want to know who you are, look at what you're calibrating. Look at what you're attracting. Calibration does this, and it makes you a magnet for everything outside. And so you calibrate exactly who you are. And so you're experiencing yourself. Want a better experience? Show up as a better person. Okay. You want joy? You want happiness? Well, listen, whatever you want to the party, you better bring it. In case the person that you expect to bring it don't show up, you good either way it goes. And that's where it's called codependency, is when I'm waiting for you to show up, DB, to bring my joy. But what if you don't show up with my joy? So I'm stuck waiting for you, not on my watch. So I'm going to bring what I need to the party everywhere I go. And I'm not going to it's too expensive to be codependent on anybody to bring me anything I need for me to be happy, be joyful, be in peace, be wealthy, be rich internally. I don't have the time, and it costs way too much for me to wait for someone to give me, which I can create within myself. And everywhere I go, there goes what I need, and there goes what I want and how I want to feel. So the book talks about that, talks about your thoughts. You bring about what you think about, what you focus, whatever you focus on magnifies. And also that The key to manifestation is not just thinking something. It's not good enough to think. You have to embody that at what you want. Embody it. You have to. True story. I work out with Donna Matrix, and for the past maybe year, about a year, every time I'd work out in his studio, I would work out, look in the mirror, and I would literally not just think, but I would embody myself doing his on-demand workout in my backyard of my own home that I didn't have yet. And I'm poolside. I'm in the backyard. I got these beautiful speakers that are surround sound. They're blasting. I'm just doing my workout the whole time. I'm embodying this while I'm in this man's studio. I'm literally embodying it. And I would be in my zone. And he'd always say, Doc, what do you be doing when you're working out? I said, I'm manifesting. You counting, I'm manifesting. Well, a year later, I was in my backyard, got my surround sound going, got my beautiful pool going, and I'm working out. And all of a sudden I said, oh my God, wait a minute. Because it was looking familiar. I was like, wait a minute. You know what? I'm living in my manifestation right now because I embodied it while I was working out. And so I say that to say a lot of us think that if we think certain things, that brings in the manifestation. We have to embody the feeling of what it would feel like to be at that level, whether it's that level in your work field, whether it's married to that woman or man, or whether it's having $2 million just sitting in your account. Every time you refresh, your bank account, you see another 2 million come through because deals just keep flowing through. What would that feel like for you? What would it feel? Imagine and feel what it feels like if you called your partner and said, man, you never believe this, but it's 2 mil in my bank account right now. Dude, I'm about to screenshot it for you and send it to you. You see how I get into it? You got to embody what it is. You got to embody it. And if there's any group of people that can get their emotions to a peak of feeling something, is definitely the minority group of people. We have been through enough trauma. We have felt enough to where if we just learn how to channel what we've already felt, what we've already been through, and channel that into manifesting the feeling of how it would feel when we have what the heck we want, we'd be manifesting like this. We're manifesting at the fastest pace possible. And so the book talks about majority of all of what I just mentioned.
And how do you balance the spirituality of life with manifesting and having self be, I forget the term you use, but self having everything? You bringing everything to the party. Where's the balance of faith and religion and spirituality? Or is there such thing as religion in terms of self mastery?
So I love that you said that, because religion, right, and psychology and spirituality, all three at their peak are the exact same thing. What do I mean by that? Religion is teaching you principles on how to live so that you can live the best quality life ever, right? Spirituality is teaching you practices. Do you hear what I just said? Religion is teaching you principles on how to live the best quality life you can live possibly. That's the Bible, all that stuff. Bishop Jakes, who I love to death, that's one of my favorite pastors. Spirituality is teaching you practices on how to live the best quality life you can live. Principles are biblical, live this way and respect thy neighbor and all that good stuff. And then spirituality or practices, meditate, right? Affirmations, self-talk, right? And then you have faith, right? Which is just, the Bible says it, just have a faith of a mustard seed. That's all. And also that God blesses you at the level of your faith. That's the same thing at the peak of it all. They're all saying the exact same thing. And so when you think about faith and belief, right? And the Bible says that faith come by hear it by the word of the Lord, right? And so we all know that we don't hear God speak like we're speaking to each other now. That's why we need to have faith. And we have to be able to have faith by hearing through our spirit and our discernment what steps God is ordering for us, right? The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And so we have to have faith that as God orders that first step and we take that step and we don't see the other 20, that once we take that first step, he's going to show up with the next step. And once we take that next step, he'll show up with the next step, because God's the same yesterday, today, as he is tomorrow. And so if he's ever done anything for you yesterday, he damn sure did something for you today, and he is going to continue that blessing tomorrow. Now, this is where we get in our own way, is when we start to doubt ourselves, right? That whichever way this decision goes, we're not going to be okay. That's self-doubt. Remember, God blesses us at the level that we believe in ourselves and that we believe in him or her, whatever people consider God to be, which to me, he's Alpha, the Omega, he's everything, he's the him, the her, he's all of it. So when it comes to faith and belief, to me, they're the same thing. You just have to believe, meaning this. If I pray for something, and let me say this, prayer is not just like this. Every thought, every word is a prayer. Okay.
Right.
Prayer is speaking. Prayer is thinking. Prayer is doing. We're just always praying. Praying is not just like this. This is why sometimes we're manifesting things that we don't want, but we have already manifested them because we're speaking, thinking, and feeling them when that's not what we wanted to do. We got to have more awareness and more self-mastery over what we're thinking and what we're feeling so we can manifest and create that at which we want, which is planting things in our garden. Okay. And so moving forward, we have to make sure that when we are praying that we're not putting resistance out into the universe. What does that mean? If I'm praying to God for oh goodness, let's just say for a husband and family, okay? And I'm praying and I'm saying, God, please, please, please bring me my husband. Please bring me my husband, bring me my kids, bring me my family. You know I'm deserving of it. You know, please, please bring it. Just praying or asking in that nature is already putting doubt into the universe. It's already putting resistance into the universe. Now, stick with me. The universe doesn't know good or bad. It just knows what you're asking for. And so if I'm asking the universe for something, but I'm begging and pleading as though I don't believe it's going to deliver it, that means that I'm putting resistance into the universe because I'm letting the universe know that I'm lacking this. This is not here right now. And so my nature of praying without faith and with the doubt is putting resistance out there that, listen, I already know it's not here. So I'm really asking for more lack. I'm not asking for what I'm praying for. So what does that look like when you're asking for something with extreme faith, with extreme belief? It looks like this. God, this prayer or this request is for my husband. And you told me no request would be returned void. And so I'm asking for it. I'm asking for my husband. I'm asking that my husband comes within the next week or so, that I meet him. We ain't got to be married within a week, but I'm asking that I meet my husband. Leave it alone and go on about your day. And you should be doing two things always in your life. You should be planting or you should be receiving your harvest. That's the only two things you could be doing. When you're planting and you're planting with faith. Boop. I want my husband. Boop. Here goes my couple million. Boop. Here goes my big home. Boop. Here goes my next business. Boop. Here goes my corporation. And you're planting with extreme confidence. And after you're done planting, you're going over here to collect your harvest on what you planted the week before you started planting today, or a month before you started planting today. So there's only two things you should be doing in life: planting or receiving. Planting or receiving. Planting or receiving. There is nothing left to do because you only have one job, and that's to be happy. And how can you not be happy if you're planting what you want and then you're reaping the harvest of what you planted? So anything in between is a waste of time. It's an illusion. You're making it up in your mind because it does not exist. It doesn't exist. And so that's how you manifest it. Make sure you're not coming from a place of lack, saying, please, please, because that means you're already doubting and you're letting the universe know, I feel the lack. It's not here. The other thing is my number one affirmation is, God, top me off and fill me up as though I already have whatever I'm asking for. Like, say the husband thing, top me off and fill me up as though I'm already married to my soulmate, to the love of my life. So in the meantime, I'm already feeling and I'm already embodying what it would feel like when he's already here, when we're already married. So I'm not walking around with lack either way. All I'm doing is walking around filled up. So until he comes into physical form, spiritually, I'm already feeling his presence and I'm already filled up and topped off. So I'm not walking around in despair or having to hang on to any man or anything just to be topped off and filled up for the moment, because that's how mistakes happen. That's how bad decision making happens, because we allow our lack and our loneliness and our despair to choose for us when we need to be letting our healthy self, our filled up, capped off self, choose for us.
DB?
Yeah, what are the differences between the clinical psychology, like consultation or counseling and a life coaching session? And also, who are some of the severe celebrity cases of suffering from mental health issues that you notice that you would like to work with, that you think you could have them have a breakthrough?
Yeah, great questions. I love that. So the difference between a clinical psychologist and life coaching session. So at DBI, Dr. Bryant Institute, we have a hybrid approach. So that means that we do both, because I started off as a marriage, family, and child therapist, transitioned into a doctor of psychology, a psychology expert, life coach. And so my foundation is therapy clinical. What does that mean? So therapy clinical is I implement a psychodynamic and a CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy approach. Those are clinical. Those are therapy. That's a treatment modality and style. The Dr. Bryant modality is what I just told you with coaching. So clinical is our therapy, clinical, and approaches I just mentioned are more about let's talk about your childhood issues and what happened as a child, what that looked like, your experiences, your learned behavior, your environment, what that felt like, who was around you. And then that will explain to us why you perceive and think and feel and behave the way you do right now as an adult. That explains exactly why you do what you do and who you are, because that's what shaped you and that's what built you and that's what your perception is. Okay, so now that we've gotten past that, which that takes more than one session. That's just, that just happens over time. Now that we've gotten past that, we're now present to what you do and how you do it. Okay, so now we can start to break apart who is it that is working for you as an adult, and what parts of you should have been left behind as adolescents or as a kid that you no longer need to take with you to survive. Now you're an adult. Let's start thriving. Let's start creating the joy, the happiness. Let's live. Let's just not be alive. Let's just not be dead with the pulse. No. Let's be alive with the pulse. And so therapy takes you through the pain pockets, the trauma, and what was that like till today's perspective. Coaching says, all right, we get it. We understand. So now moving forward, who do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be proud of? Okay, so now we create a blueprint that gets you to who and what you want to be at the fastest, most effective way possible. And that hybrid together is what makes for the best coaching, the best therapy, the best professional work you have, because you have a lot of therapists, and I'm not knocking the mental health field, because it's an amazing field that is extremely necessary. It is the most necessary field, but you have a lot of therapists who I have a lot of clients who've gone to therapists before me, and they've been with their therapist 4 or 5 years, and it's mostly just talk therapy, meaning they just been talking for the last 4 or 5 years, and there's been no movement. There's been no healing. They just have talked about their issues and their traumas, and that's it. There hasn't been no hands-on. I give every one of my clients, they get homework every time we leave our session, which is coaching. And it also has that therapy component. It's that hybrid component. They get homework and it's so cute to where my last client tonight, before I hopped on here with y'all, we're about to get off, and he's like, all right, doc, so what's my homework? And I love when they say that, because not that I forget to give it to them, but there's sometimes where they're rocking and rolling so much. I'm like, there really is no homework, but to keep doing what you've been doing. But they look forward to that homework, because when you do the work, it works. And when someone sees that something's working, trust me, I shouldn't say it in this way, but I'm going to say it's like a drug. They want more of it. So when they see the work that I'm giving them is working, then they're asking for more, because they're seeing that it's effective. And so again, therapy is the trauma, right? And the perspective of what got you here. And coaching is, now let's build this thing out, man. Let's build this thing out to who you want to be, who you're proud to be, and where you want to go, and what that looks like. And I will walk you through it. And it's okay if we make a decision or we start to create something that you say, I thought I wanted that doc 2 months ago, but I want to switch it up a little bit. That's what I'm here for. Let's switch it up. You're not stuck in figuring out who you are. That's a forever journey. It's a forever journey coming into who you are. The most important thing, though, when you're coming into who you are, is to get in contact with all your moving parts and love the hell out of every single moving part that is you, no matter what, because to dislike one part of yourself, listen to me, to negate one part of yourself is the epitome of self-hatred, period. period. It's the good, the bad, the ugly is what I, for the most part, teach all of my clients to love unconditionally everything about themselves, even the stuff that they look at and they're like, ooh, that's not easy to love, but it's you. Because there's only one person you'll never depart from. One person. And guess who that is? That's you. You will never depart from yourself. So if there's anybody that you better learn to love everything about you, or you better start to create a you that you can love, it's yourself. It's yourself. And so that's what we do. It's a hybrid. And thus far, it is extremely, extremely effective. Extremely effective. I've had clients who have been with me for years, and who one calls me his secret weapon, or we're talking about what people call me. He calls me his secret weapon. The other one calls me his Michelle Obama Sava NIGGA. That's what calls me, and I know he means it from a place of love. And so I allow him to have that freedom and be himself. So yeah, that's pretty much the difference, but they're both needed. So even if someone doesn't reach out to me and come to me or the Dr. Bryant Institute for one of my therapists or coaches here, when you are going to a therapist, interview them and make sure that they're giving a hybrid approach, that it's not just a conversation where you're just pouring your heart out to this person and they're not giving you no guidance. They're not facilitating you. They're not helping you process. They're not probing. They're not poking from a place of love and saying, wait a minute. You said you wanted this, but you're doing this. You're out of alignment. Let's talk about that. You're out of alignment. Which one do you want? And I'm not judging you. I just want to know, what do you want to do so I can get you on that track of what you want to do? Because one thing that we cannot do as coaches or professionals is project onto you what we want for you. These sessions are about you telling us what you want. And if you don't know, that's even perfect. We'll process and help you get to the knowing. And then we bring to you what you want to be and what that looks like for you so that you can become independent, right? And not codependent. That's the whole key.
Right. We got Brittany in the back. So we got about, I got one more question. DB has one more question. Then we'll get it going. How do you balance pain? Two-part question. How do you balance pain? Do you compartmentalize it or do you dilute it with all the greatness that surrounds the pain? Mm-hmm. And two, how do you balance the success of tangibles, physical tangibles versus spiritual growth? How's that balance?
How do you deal with pain? Do you cover up?
Do you
compartmentalize it?
Or do you dilute it with everything else that's great in your life?
Please do neither. Please do neither one.
Okay, let's do it.
Now, you can compartmentalize it. And again, it will stay just like a fly. Okay, you have a fly that's in your window and you shut your window on it. And so you block the fly in between the window and the screen. And so it's right? Yeah. That's compartmentalizing, right? Compartmentalizing. It's gonna stay there, and it may even die off at some point. But as soon as you open that window, either it's gonna fly back out, or you have a whole lot of little dead flies that you didn't left in there that you still have to clean up at some point, anyways, unless you're just nasty and gonna leave it in your windowsill. And then after a while, it just piles up and piles up. The other way is if you just continue to focus on your good and your good and your good, what happens is you start to accumulate all this good. And then we get to this pinnacle of I'm killing it. I'm doing it. Oh my God. Right. Guess what comes in to sucker punch you? As soon as you're at that peak, it happens to the best of people, the most successful people. I have clients who are millionaires, celebrities. I got all kinds of clients, and they're in session because they got all that pinnacle and they're getting sucker punched by the stuff that they didn't face, that they did not face. And so what do you do with pain? What pain is, I have this thing, you feel, deal, and then you can heal. Listen, pain is not as bad.
I like that.
You got to, exactly.
Title of a book. That's a title of a book.
Exactly. And so you gotta face, just like fear, right? You face the fear and do it anyways. What pain, the cure for the pain is in the pain. You have to be willing to go in the pain, look at the pain and say, okay, what we doing? Where did you hurt me at? And what did you want from me? And what did you want me to see? What did you want me to hear? What did you want me to say? And what? That's what you do with pain. You sit in it and you say, what's up? What do you need from me? That's exactly, I practice what I preach. I mean, I've gone through breakups, I've called off weddings, and I've sat and I've said, okay, what? I'm over it, but you're still calling on me. What do you want? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to hear? What do you want me to feel? Get it over with, because I'm past it. I'm over it. And I got some good stuff going on over here. And if you do that, you'll notice that, discernmently, pain will start to speak to you, and it will start to ask you to look at things, to shift things, to become the things that are meant for you to become from that pain. And as you become that, then all of a sudden the pain subsides, and you realize that you don't ever have to experience the same pain twice, as long as you're giving it the attention that it needs. And it doesn't take long. It's called sitting in the seat of self. So for myself, and even for what I tell my clients, they usually do it in session with me. I usually just sit. I sit for 20, 30, 40 minutes. I call it my God's time. And I sit in my pain, and I literally speak to it. I say, what do you want? What's up? And I tell it the truth. I say, make it fast, because I'm not in the mood to sit in here with you for that long. And so the other question, what was your second part question about?
The balance of spirituality versus tangible goods. Like, say, for example, you do get the $2 million check, and you get the $2 million check. You're still watching TV. You're on YouTube. You know what I mean? You've been poor for a long time. And how do you balance that spirituality with that $2 million?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. See, and that's the thing. And that's where I just brought up the balance comes from. Listen, you have everyone, broke, rich, or indifferent. Okay. Everyone has to have principles that they live off of, principles that are foundations for them to do practice. And it has to be what anchors them. For example, I have principles that anchor me. For me, that's meditation every single morning for 20 minutes. The second one for me is I live by God, by the biblical principles. They've worked for me. I believe in them. And I'm not religious, but I am spiritual. And so the principles of God, which, believe it or not, the law of attraction, the biblical principles are the same damn thing. They're just worded differently. I promise you. Research them and compare them. The Think and Grow Rich. They're using the principles from the Bible. All they did was put it into just a different form that most people who don't want to use God, let's be real, can understand or can resonate with. They're the exact same damn things. It's biblical that you just put into a different form. Right. And so you got to have principles that you continuously stand on, that you continuously go to when things get weird, or when you start to have a lack of understanding of what life is. Like the Bible says, lean not onto your own understanding. Right? Lean not onto your own understanding. There's things in life that happen that you just won't understand. You got to lean onto the individual, God, for me being God, who you have faith and belief in. And you have to lean all the way back on that and say, I don't understand. And you got to be communicative about that. Why? Because again, if you accumulate all these riches and you have no principles, best believe that you are going to fall extremely short into suicidal ideations or suicide. It happens all the time. Or you're going to be in deep depression. And what I've learned from my clients is depression hits so much darker when you have all the money, all the resources, and all the friends and all the people, but you are empty and on E inside, because then you have nothing else that you can at least tell yourself, if I reach this, I'll feel better, because you're saying, I got everything, but I'm still mentally, I'm not there, because that balance you just mentioned was something that they didn't implement along the way. And so for me, I make sure that I'm listening to my Bishop Jakes on a daily. I'm implementing my principles on a daily. I'm still making sure I get my 30 minutes of God time. I meditate every morning, because I do not want to rise up here and then I don't have my principles in alignment or in check, because I rather have my mind. Okay. I rather have my mind than have any $2, $3, $4 million any day without my mind. I'm not losing my mind over any type of money. Okay. Money doesn't have value. I give money value. You give money value. Money has no value. If we choose not to spend it, money is null and void. So we have to understand that the value that money has, it's only because of us who's spending it is giving it value. And when we understand that, then we know that the real value comes from our internal peace, our internal joy, our internal happiness. and the ability to not be codependent and to have everything we need packed up in this thing right here, right here. So when we get money, it's an incentive, it's an asset. You know, we're able to spend it and we're able to share it because we don't have to hover and we don't have to keep it because again, whatever God moves through you, he gives to you, but he doesn't give to you to keep. He gives to you to filter. Whatever God moves through you, he gives to you, good or bad. So you want to make sure whatever you're giving to people is something that you don't mind keeping because you get to keep what you give. We're filters. And that's exactly what it is. And so that balance is so important. So important.
Right. DB, she got to run, DB. So you got to hold that question for the next time. But
you can ask one more. Go for it.
Go ahead, D. Go ahead.
I see Brittany in the chat. You can ask one more.
I have several, but I want to ask you this. Is Kevin Samuels a life coach? And what do you think about his approach to coaching?
Kevin Samuels, you're talking about the guy who just had that incident with his wife not too long ago?
I'm not sure, but I know he's Instagram and YouTube. I'm not sure about an issue.
Oh, Kevin Samuels. Oh, you're talking about the black guy who he okay, I got you. He has a podcast thing and he's a little rough when he's talking to women about things, right? He speaks on relationships and I see women calling in about their relationships and he's kind of like, if you broke or if you're this, then right? That's him. Okay, thank you, Britt. That's him. Do I think he's a life coach? No, I think he is a entertainer. I think that he is take this back. Whatever title he has given himself is what I respect because I respect people and their titles and whatever they got going on for themselves. But when I view him and experience him, he's more of an entertainment or entertainer type of host of a show. Whenever you are disempowering or emasculating or defeminizing somebody, whenever you're taking away somebody's power, you're not coaching. You're not a therapist, you're not a professional, and you're not helping. There's never been a time in any of my sessions, and I've been doing this for years, and I've heard some things in my session. Okay. I've had emergency sessions come through from couples and I've heard some things in the background and I still never had to come out of my professional space to emasculate or disempower anybody. Okay. The point of being a coach is to come in with a non-judgmental perspective and to be able to have enough awareness and enough articulateness to speak to somebody about what it is that they need to do to grow into a space without judgment. Even if that means you have to ask them a series of questions for them to get to the answer or to get to the vision of what you're trying to give them. And so there's some clients I have where I say, hey, so just curious, when you stepped out and you slept with this other woman because you were upset with your wife, was that something that made you feel good? I mean, honestly, I'm not talking about the act. I'm sure. And I'm very open and very, very, we're adults in my session. Okay. I said, I'm not talking about the act and the orgasm of the act. I'm sure that was amazing. Okay. But I'm talking about the post residue of it. Did it feel good? How did you feel about that? And, usually they're saying, no, not really, but she pissed me off or, she was ungrateful. And it's usually for men, she was ungrateful in the moment. So since I did all this and she wants to be ungrateful, I got you. I said, okay. So that means that your actions and who you are predicated on what this woman does. And so that means that you have that codependency issue with you. And so depending on how she moves is predicated on how you move. And so that's not self-mastery, but is that something that you're okay with? See, that's the way I word it. And that's the way you go in. I'm not taking this man's power. And do I think that, am I condoning him cheating? Of course not. But I'm not there to judge this man. I'm not there to tell him that he was wrong and you're going to be judged and you're domained and what's wrong with you and you sleeping on an air mattress. That's why you're cheating because you're on an air mattress. That's more of what I see Kevin Samuels does. Now, does he have some points that I'm like, you know what? That is so true. She or he's asking for something that, you don't have, or you have 3 kids by 3 different men and you're trying to ask for, a man with no kids, be realistic. Yeah, I can hear some of there's a lot of truth to what he's saying, but a coach, a mental health professional, a therapist. No, we're here to empower. We're here to show you a different perspective. We're here to give you a different way. We're here to nurture you through that. We're here to allow you to see and get awareness of the mistakes you are making, while allowing you to still love yourself unconditionally, so that you don't continue to beat yourself up and then make those same mistakes. Because a person who is beating themselves up is damn sure going to beat up on their partner. And so if I beat up on you in session, okay, I let you beat up on yourself, and then 3 months later, you and your wife are in session and she's saying all he does is throw me away and beat me up. Well, of course he does, because guess what? We're just self-projectors. And if I'm going to do it to me, I'm going to do it to you. And so we got to make sure, right, as professionals and coaches, that we're teaching y'all how to love on you. Self-love, epitome of healthy relationship is loving on yourself. Because the more that I can love on me and have compassion for me, then I'm able to love the hell out of you. But I cannot love you past the extent that I love on myself. And so as I am beating up on myself or throwing myself away for saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or not looking the right way, or damn, I made that mistake. Oh, I knew it. I'm just horrible. Oh, then guess what I'm going to do to you as soon as you come home and you forgot to take the trash out, or right? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you stupid? Didn't I tell you to take the trash out? You know, do you see? Exactly. You see that? But guess what? Guess what? If I project that onto you, it's because I've called me stupid all day long, or I've called me stupid all throughout the week. And so you want to know what somebody is feeling or what their turmoil or their peace is within themselves, just shut up and pay close attention to how they treat you. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly who they experience within themselves every day. So as a professional, when I see that, I go into compassion mode and I'm going, oh my God, if this man can treat these women in these ways, or if he's a womanizer like this, or this woman can emasculate him. Oh yeah, I could imagine how lonely and how dark it is inside that person. And that turns me on to want to dig deeper into your self-hate, or your lack of love for yourself, or where did you learn that this behavior was what you do, or how you treat yourself when you do something wrong. And every time it'll go back to, well, growing up, whenever I did this, my pops beat the hell out of me. He beat the skin off my back. Or, whenever I did something wrong, my mom told me, you nothing ass NIGGA, just like your daddy. You'll get that. And so that man will end up with a woman who will do a self-fulfilling prophecy that says, you ain't nothing just like your daddy. And then he's mad at this woman, right? Because he don't like to be talked to like that, but he's calibrating that woman because she is what fits his norm subconsciously. And he doesn't know it because he's still that young boy who turned into that grown man who is a nothing NIGGA, because that's all he's been told all his life. So he attracts stuff that keeps that image true for him.
Right.
And that's the dysfunctional pathology of it all. And that's why when you get a real powerful coach, a professional, he or she, we're going to break all that down and we're going to get into that. We don't have to stay there and buy real estate in there. But we're going to go in there and we're going to figure out who said it and what did it. And we're still not going to judge them. We're not going in there to judge them. We're going in there so you know what the heck you're calibrating. Right. And why you keep choosing a woman who has to emasculate you. And why it is that you feel like everywhere you go, you're not good enough, or you don't fit in, or why when you walk in a room, you're like, damn, do I fit in? Am I too black? Am I too not black? Am I too tall? Am I not smart enough? You have those questions because they came from somewhere that became your norm. And we got to break that norm and create something new. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it happens. And when it happens, it is powerful. I'm telling you, I said it earlier on, there's nothing more powerful than seeing a person, especially a man, walk in his power when he ain't never walked in it in his life. There's no arrogance there. It's all about, he goes from doing, which is exhausting, to being, which is liberating. Being is liberating. Doing is exhausting. Just like here on the show, I'm liberated, and I see my publicist Brittany's like, okay, we got to close it up. but because I'm being myself, I'm liberated. And now I'm into it, right? And I'm not tripping off for 30 minutes or 40 minutes going on. But if I was in here doing and looking at a script and, I'd be exhausted. with the information, but this is what I do. This is who I be, and this is how I show up. And I love this stuff. I love my clients. I'm so invested in them. I'm invested in people understanding themselves and not being codependent, and really looking at the moving pieces of why they continue to choose who they choose or what they choose, and ending up in dark, really hurtful situations when they don't have to. They don't have to. And it's not about changing anything outside of you. It's about everything. And that's what you want. Everything is right here. As long as it's right here, like they said in the Kanye West interview, as long as it's right here, you got the answers, Sway. You got the answers. If it's outside, you got a problem, because you can't control people to do what you want them to do. That is an illusion. That'll never happen. Never happen.
Thank you for coming into the shop, man. This was a session. Yeah. Thank you to Brittany for trusting us with you, and thank you for being very easy to deal with. And PPD says you're beautiful, and thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully we have you back anytime you want at a moment's notice. You're more than welcome. And thank you for coming into the barbershop. And thank you, Brittany. Do you call her B Square, by the way? Or do you call her BB?
I just call her Brittany. Or
Britt.
Okay. Yeah, I call her Britt.
Perfect.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's definitely amazing. But thank you guys so much for having me. And I really hope that folks take this and apply the principles. And I just want to leave these last words with, I want to offer that everybody gets a professional, literally a therapist, a coach that has a hybrid, that is hands-on as a preventative measure. You should not be going to a coach or a therapist at the intervention piece of it. Now, go in general, but intervention oftentimes is too late. Prevention is when you want to go. Go when you're in a good mood. Go when you got just the regular little daily impairments that you just need to process out, some little kinks, so that you can maintain that sanity and maintain that peace, maintain that joy. That's when you want to go, because that's when we keep you good. And so if anything does hit you, you got your coach in your back pocket that you can just reach out to, you can process. And even the Bible says to seek wise counsel. That's what it does say. And so we all should be seeking wise counsel, and we should be trusting ourselves first, and then trusting everything else that comes after that. That's the recipe to being happy and to being healthy.
Thank you so much. And if you want to find her, it's her name everywhere. So and enjoy the read, because you're going to be reading for a while. My heavens, the award-winning author, man, the acclaimed doctor, the acclaimed everything. Thank you for coming in, and thank you, Brittany, and thank you again, Dr. Bryant. Sure, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Dr. Bryant. Appreciate you.
You got it, guys. Thank you for having me. Good night.
Good night. Appreciate you all the time. Thank you, Brittany. Let me get it. You take all that in.
It was a lot. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it,
for sure.
Like 2 or 3 times to be able to absorb it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a lot. Like, this is one of those 2.5, 3 hour seminars, with a 15-minute intermission, and then also another break. And then we crammed it all into, a 40